Welcome back to TaraChessAcademy. Today we're going to help you understand how to calculate long-term plans.
Hello everyone. Yeah, for today we prepared an interesting hand game, a rook against the pawns. Yeah, so let's discuss this position. So you see that the white king is so far away from the pawns. Yeah, and of course pawns move this way. So for the first look, this position is absolutely draw position. Yeah. So for instance, if the rook tries to stop the pawns, yeah, I think that after rook h5, black even could play g5. Yeah. So, and of course, after the king escapes, it's gonna help the pawn to promote. Yeah. So this endgame looks like a draw endgame. So it's also because of the position of the white king. Yeah, of course, if the white king would be somewhere closer to the pawn, so white could stop the pawns without any problems. Yeah, so it looks like if we try just to think typical in this position, I think it doesn't help us. So, and of course, it should be clear that just a rook is not enough to stop the pawns. So I'm not sure that we have any successful plans without the king's help. Yeah, so Tara, maybe you have some ideas about the white king?
I also think that if we try to use the rook, nothing will work because if we try to just give checks by rook a1 and then after the king moves, we move it back to a2, it's not going to help our position. It's just going to waste time. So let's try to do something with the white king. Right now, the white king is far away from the passed pawn. So first, let's try to go to g7 and capture the pawn.
Yeah, to be honest, I think we have two possible candidate moves here. Of course, we want to get to the 7th rank. I'm not sure that we have to think about king g8. Yeah, so of course, the most typical move, yeah, candidate move. And as you remember, usually we should start with checks or with captures, yeah, as like candidate moves. So of course, taking the pawn looks like the best option. So of course, black gonna move the pawn. What happens then? Should we try to do something with the rook? So for instance, if we make a check, will it help?
I think it won't help. The black king can come closer to their pawns.
Yeah, so it will support the pawn. So of course, it's not a part of our plan. So probably we still should move the king closer, maybe king g6.
Yeah.
So the king, the black king doesn't have any good moves. So yeah, that's why h3. So I still don't think that moving the rook is the best idea. So maybe king g5, h2. Yeah, so we don't give up. Probably we want to try some checkmates ideas. Yeah, and just to move the king in front of the black king. Yeah, so probably black gonna promote queen. Yeah, and king g3, so maybe it looks like now white wins because white just wants to mate the king, yeah? And if something like this happens, queen g2 or queen f3, yeah? Okay, we don't mate in one, but we get a queen. So what do you think? Is it a winning position for white?
At first, we think even though black has a queen, white is about to make checkmate on the next move. So no big problems for white. But black actually has a way to stop the checkmate if they move their queen all the way to the other side on h8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now the queen controls a1. So it looks like we did something wrong. Should we go back?
Let's go back.
Okay. So we started with this capture, yeah? King takes g7, yeah? But it looks like it wasn't the best plan. So let's think what else we can do in this position with the king.
We already know that going to g8 doesn't make sense. We want to go closer to the pawns, not further away. So instead, let's try to move the king to h7.
Okay, so I think that we're gonna have the same plan. Yeah, we finally want to get to g3. Yeah, and I don't think that black has anything better than just playing h4. Yeah, so we can just repeat the position with one tiny detail. Yeah, so black still has a pawn. Yeah, usually it's better to have more pieces, but probably not in this position. So what happens after king g3? Is it possible to avoid checkmate?
Here, the position is different because of the pawn on g7.
Mm-hmm.
You might think that it's a small difference and that black can still move the queen to h8 to defend against the checkmate. But notice here that if the queen goes to h8 and tries to stop the checkmate threat, the black queen is not guarding the a1 square. So because of the pawn on g7 is blocking the queen.
So that's why just mate on one. Yeah, and if we
Yeah.
go back, you see that black just doesn't have any good moves with the queen. Yeah, if it moves somewhere here, so it would be just captured. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, very nice idea. But also let's discuss, yeah, what happens if black, instead of playing h4, tries to move both of the pawns to the first rank. Yeah, I think it's also possible candidate moves that we could discuss. So should we move the rook in this position, or we still should concentrate on the improving position of the king?
I think moving our king is more helpful because if we move our rook to a5 where it can attack the black pawns, it can help the black pawns to come forward and we don't have a good way to stop them.
Yeah, of course, it's a draw position. So let's go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably after g5 we can play king h6, king g6, so I'm not sure that there is a big difference between these moves. So black still could try to promote, I think with h pawn, yeah, because if black moves g pawn, it would be blocked by the king, yeah? So that's why let's move this one, and we will see what happens. We still follow the plan. Our goal is to get to g3, yeah? But in this position, there is a problem. Now it's not black's turn to move, it's white's turn to move, and that's why black just doesn't have time for moving the queen to h8. So it's mate in one. And for instance, if black promotes to a knight with check, let's think what is the best move for the king. So, I mean, like, of course, we want to finish the game as soon as possible, and we don't want to play an endgame, a rook against the knight. So maybe we have a move after which we can just win this knight.
I wouldn't want to move the king to the fourth rank where it's going away. I also wouldn't want to go to h3 because then the knight can come to f2 and give another check. So I would move the king to f3.
Yeah, so no matter where the knight moves, it would be captured. Yeah, if the king moves, it's still mate on a1.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting end game. Yeah, and this idea with king h7, yes, it's nice. So of course you want to capture the pawn, but when you calculate everything, you see that just this pawn staying on g7 could help you to win the game. So that's why kind of like poisoned pawn, yeah, but some not a poisoned like, yeah, but the pawn that better not to capture. So
Yeah. And you can see how important it is that white was starting to calculate from this position. They didn't just play moves and think one move ahead. They thought if they would think to the end, they would move the king to h7. But people who wouldn't think until the end would capture the pawn.
of course,
And if you capture the pawn, it would be a draw. So
I agree.
it's very important to calculate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to others. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
Bye.